Welcome, everybody, to another edition of the Table Spot. My name is Metal Mike, and I'm joined here tonight with Mr. Phil and Met himself. Phil, how you doing on this wonderful Monday night?
What's going on, man? It's the beginning of the week.
Yeah.
It's another beginning of the week, and we are here to talk some good old pro wrestling. It's a very interesting time. You know, we're just coming off WrestleMania and everything. We're kind of like building onto another pay-per-view that really wasn't as far along as what seemed like the road to WrestleMania seemed to be like from the Elimination Chamber onto WrestleMania. We're literally only 3 shows away, I should say, from the next one, and it's fastly moving, and WWE's got some things in place. We'll talk about it, but it's just another beginning of the week, and it's another beginning of the just time for professional wrestling as we're on the road to next year's WrestleMania. So It is a thing. And we're kind of just going through the motions as we begin another week, brother. So yeah.
I mean, the big question is, are you ready for next year's WrestleMania, to the fact of where it's going to be?
No, not
what
at
time?
All.
I mean, here's the thing: is growing up as a kid, and Phil, I'm gonna kind of show my age here a little bit, because as you know, I'm slightly older than you. I've watched wrestling since Hulkamania, brother. That was me growing up. My first pay-per-view was the 1990 Survivor Series debut of The Undertaker. Crazy, right? And, to see and feel the way the road to WrestleMania and even post-WrestleMania is from then, or even the mid-2000s, before the pandemic to now, like, it's a different feel. I said this to Cam last week. Ever since WrestleMania 40, the Raw after WrestleMania doesn't feel like a Raw after WrestleMania. It just feels like another Raw. I get it. They're trying to get new things going, and they want to get them going right away. They have to, because they got to keep that train rolling. There's no time to kind of soak in what they just came out of. And WrestleMania was not a flop by all means. No. Night one, was it a little, questionable in a sense? Yeah. But night two killed it.
Yeah.
Night two was amazing.
Yeah. I loved my time watching night two. Night one, I enjoyed it for what it was.
Yeah.
But trust me, I mean, there was always definitely some things that realistically could have been better. But overall, the thing is, I always enjoy WrestleMania season. No matter what, it's WrestleMania, for God's sakes. If you don't enjoy the time for WrestleMania, then, at the end of the day, what's the point of just trying to enjoy the time that is the world of professional wrestling right now?
Yeah.
Wrestling at its core is awesome. It's a really, really cool thing to experience. And yeah, sure, things could be better, but things could be a lot worse also. And we have been through the trenches of some really, really bad times. So I just take the good with the bad, and I just formulate my opinions on the way that they just see fit.
I always tell younger fans, fans that are obviously, fans that are younger than me, go watch the stuff that I grew up on. And then compare it to what you're watching now to the stuff that you grew up on. Because again, you started getting into it in the mid 2000s.
Yep.
So you coming into it was John Cena, the end of The Rock and Stone Cold. You got John Cena, Randy Orton, Triple H. You got that hardcore crew that came out of OVW and that was super successful.
Pretty
Brock
much
Lesnar.
End of Ruthless Aggression into PG. And
exactly.
I was like, yeah, that's my time frame.
So if you come out of, when you come out of an era like the Attitude Era, but go back further. And I'm talking you had Garbage Men, you had Thieves, Repo Man. I mean, come on. And then you get to now, go ahead and compare your time to what I grew up to as a kid and see who had it worse. Okay, yeah, we got the Attitude Era, but thanks to the NWO, to Hulk Hogan, Nash, and Hall, and Eric Bischoff for kind of lighting a flame under McMahon's ass and giving him the thought of, oh, maybe we need to start spicing some shit up here. We would have still had those gimmicky gimmicks. Thanks to that. But go back and watch. Go back and watch the stuff I grew up on as a kid and compare it to what you grew up on. And you tell me who had it worse. Yeah, because imagine going to a wrestling event and you see a guy with a fucking a mask on his eyes and he comes a Repo Man. Come on. Had a guy with a bird on his shoulder. Now, don't get me wrong. It was fun. It was fun. You were a fan of them. It was cool. Ultimate Warrior. Like, they were cool characters. But when you grow up and you get to the point of now adulthood, and it's like, man, like, it was a good time in wrestling, but there was some shit characters. Some shit characters. And it's like, what were they doing?
Yeah. Trust me, man. I mean, I've done my homework from here and there. I mean, I don't like, continuously go back and watch like that older time frame or whatever. But, because I don't mean to say it like this, because obviously I'm not like in the ring or anything like that. But in terms of like actually learning the history of what this business is all about, you look at the tapes, you figure out like where it is, you go through the motions of it, and you kind of like become a student of the game in a sense by watching the old stuff, and you just see where things have gone from then to what they are now. I mean, it's a drastic difference. I mean, it's insane how it's gone.
So Cam in the chat says, us, we have it worse, much worse. Y'all didn't have the TKO ruining wrestling. Here's the thing is we're here with you. We're with
still
you
here, brother.
So it's kind of like I do have TKO kind of ruining wrestling in a sense for me because I'm here with you side by side. See, we had the gimmick cartoon characters to the Attitude Era, to the Ruthless Aggression, to the PG, and we caught up to the fact and where we're all standing side by side as fans together on this journey of TKO / TK, if we know who I'm talking about, kind of screwing shit up a little bit. So, but let's get into it. Let's get into it. Last Monday night, we obviously seen Jacob Fatu show up on Monday Night Raw to confront the new World Heavyweight Champion Roman Reigns. Put the challenge out there for Backlash, which is on May 9th, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, start time over on ESPN and on Netflix internationally. And Roman said last week he was giving Jacob a week, and that week is up as of tonight. So at the beginning of the show tonight, we get that really cool vignette by Roman Reigns and the Usos sitting at the table, asking the Usos their thoughts on Jacob Fatu. And Jimmy said that he understands what Roman's talking about, but he does kind of agree with what Jacob was saying because of the fact of like not just him, but a lot of people in this business want what Roman has. Not only the world championship, the houses, the cars, obviously the shoe collection. Roman just had his own shoe not too long ago come out from Nike. Everything. The boss, he wants everything. And Jay said that if Jacob was to beat him, then things could get really bad. And he thinks that things need to start getting shut down like right now. Roman needs to take care of this stuff right now as we speak. And he thinks that consequences need to be given because he feels like that Jacob has to fall in line. Jacob is family. He's a cousin. And Roman said that Jay was right. This isn't a charity and that things need to be taken care of. We then get to later on in the show, the end of the show tonight, Roman Reigns and Jacob both come out face to face. First off, Roman came out and he had a little speech. He said that, they made the world title in spite of him. And you think about it, he's kind of right. Because of the run that Roman was on, they made a second world title because Roman was champion for 3.5 years. So what they do? We'll make another world championship. That way we can have a world championship representative for the company and a workhorse championship, basically. That's what the world title is made for. You can look at the guys who held it: Gunther, Jay, Seth. The list goes on. CM Punk. And then he said that he made this championship relevant. He has this championship for 8 days, and he feels like he's already made it relevant. My first question is, before we continue on, do you feel like in these 8 days, Roman made this world title relevant?
Look, man, I get what they're trying to do with Roman. I get what they're trying to do with him being the world heavyweight champion. I called it from the very beginning that this man was going to win the world championship when he did. Relevant? I say CM Punk and Seth Rollins were the two men that made that championship relevant when they made that championship in the first place. Seth Rollins was the inaugural world heavyweight champion when this championship came into be. They made this championship simply because Roman Reigns was the champion for as long as he was. And at the end of the day, they needed some other championship for these people to fight for, because there was no way in hell anybody was going to defeat Roman at that time. No. So they said, look, we'll make another championship. We'll figure this out along the way, and we'll build the prestige as long as we get the right champions to have it. And they've done, honestly, a very good job with it. Honestly, to be completely fair. I think ultimately it was a very hard hill to climb for this championship. It really wasn't easy for this championship to be recognized and to be known as something of relevance to fight for, considering Roman was a champion for so long at that time. But they did a really good job with it. And I've always stuck up for this iteration of the World Heavyweight Championship. But to say that Roman Reigns has made this championship relevant over the course of just this 8-day reign, there's a lot more people that have made this championship more relevant than just one 8-day reign of a championship for Roman. Even though he is a great superstar, I am not taking anything away from Roman whatsoever. But there's a lot more to build than just that one 8-day reign.
So not a long list since this world title's been around in 2023. Obviously, Seth Rollins won it on May 27th at Night of Champions in Saudi Arabia. He held it for, definitely. Him and AJ Styles tore the house down in that match. 316 days as champion before he lost it. Drew McIntyre then won it at WrestleMania. Obviously, got cashed in by Damian Priest. Priest held it for 118 days. Then Gunther won it. He held it for 259 days. Jey Uso beat Gunther. He held it for 51.
Yeah.
And then Gunther held it for 54 days. CM Punk then went on to win it at SummerSlam, got cashed in on by Seth Rollins. Rollins was champion for 79 days. Title became vacant in October of 2025. CM Punk wins it at Saturday night's main event, and then Roman Reigns defeated him for the title. CM Punk 169 days as champion. So, I mean, you look at this list and some really good champions holding this belt. I'm going to say this right now, probably out of that whole list, my favorite, I mean, it would be, obviously, being the big CM Punk fan that I am, you would think I would say CM Punk. Yes, I loved CM Punk's reign. I did. I liked CM Punk's reign. Was it a big reign? Was it a memorable reign? You could say yes. You could say no. I loved Damian Priest as champion. Yeah. I did. Huge fan of Damian being champion.
Very underrated reign as World Heavyweight Champion, and not many people are going to be giving him the kind of credibility that he deserves when he held that championship. No. I was there when he won the championship, when he cashed in at 40, and
I wish I was.
It was an amazing time, because I just turned to a friend that I was sitting next to that night, and we witnessed a match between Drew and Seth, which honestly, even though it was a short match at the time, for a WrestleMania sake, for a world championship match, it was a solid thing that they did in the time that they had. And I turned to him and I said, imagine. And then I just hummed the Judgment Day theme, and he's like, man, no. Don't even go there. Don't even go there. And then not even 3 seconds later, boom, it happens. And I was like, dude, there's no way. There's no way. And he's like, Phil, what script do you have? Give it to me. If you have it in your back pocket, let me see this.
How much they pay you?
And I was like, dude, I don't know. It just had a feeling for me. And he won it, I was so happy for him. He's not a fan of Damian Priest. Shout out to you, Love. I love you, but it was a great time. And I just think it was a very underrated reign, and not many people give him the credit that he deserves for holding it as long as he did. And the match that he had with Gunther when he lost the championship was really good too. And luckily, I was there for that moment as well. So I saw the entirety of the reign, seeing it when he won and seeing it when he lost it too. So honestly, very good reign for Damian.
I mean, when you think of the flop now, Roman Reigns now holds the World Heavyweight Championship, which there's a slight expectancy of him having probably even half of the run that he had before. So if you even cut his first half in his first, if you would cut his first reign in half, that would take it to about, let's say 750 days. We'll just throw it out to 750 if we would even out his first reign to 1,400 days, because it was like 1,300 some odd days. Okay.
Yeah.
So
13,
let's just
16, I think.
Okay. So then let's round it out to 650. Let's say he holds this belt for 650. Okay. So that's a almost 2-year reign of this World Heavyweight title. If you look at it, they just flopped the script of he was WWE Undisputed Heavyweight Champion. Now he's World Champion. Now we could start giving the WWE Undisputed Heavyweight Championship the recognition and acknowledgement and the run that it should respectfully have. And as of right now, it sits on Cody Rhodes. Okay.
Yep.
And there's so many people Cody can go up against if he remains champion. So many people. Roman, let's say he goes on a 650-day run. Let's just say, for fun purposes, let's say he goes on a 650-day run. The thing they're going to do for that WWE Championship to give it a little more of an important spotlight, because Roman gave that WWE Championship the important spotlight. Now that script is flipped. Now they're going to probably do what they did for the World Heavyweight title with the WWE Championship. Because, and let's get into what happened after this. Roman said that he gave Jacob a week to decide whether he's going to unite or divide this family. Jacob then came out and he said to Roman, look, I didn't need a week. I didn't need an hour. I knew what I wanted. I was grinding for 12 years while you guys were running the bloodline. You and the Usos didn't call me. Solo was the one that called me to bring me in. But then Roman reiterated and said, no, you got it all wrong. I gave the green light to the company of bringing you in. Solo just called you. And that's that. And he said that, look, the OTC, I run this place. I signed off on you. You don't deserve this. You didn't earn this. You didn't do nothing. And in the middle of him getting ready to say something else, Jacob got pissed, attacked him, choked him out, basically. And as we were getting ready to go off the air, Roman grabbed the microphone and says, Jacob, you want backlash? You got backlash. Me and you for the world title. So on May 9th, next Saturday, we are getting Roman Reigns, Jacob Fatu for the World Heavyweight Championship at Backlash. How excited are you for this match next weekend?
I'm very excited for this, because the thing is, we're finally going to get to see Jacob Fatu in this kind of light to where he can finally be something of a credibility for a world championship type caliber thing. I've always thought of Jacob Fatu as a credible superstar to be in this kind of light. When he was going up against Drew McIntyre during this WrestleMania season, I said, you give him the win, and then right after that, you put him in a world championship opportunity scene, because there is no better way to get him into a world championship type caliber scene than right now. There's no better way to do it, and there's no better time to do it, because we're right off WrestleMania. People love this guy. People were booing him tonight, but that was because they were attacking their tribal chief. So, of course, there was going to be some mixed reactions for it. But there's just no better time, and there's no better place than to do this right now. I don't see a world where Jacob Fatu comes out of this as world champion, but that doesn't matter to me, as long as he has a great match with Roman, he holds his own, he gets that kind of acclamation to that world title scene. There's no telling what this guy can do for future iterations of what the world championship scene could be. And I definitely see him as a world champion in the near future, just not right now, especially when we're just starting off this Roman Reigns run with the world championship.
I mean, that's going to be the big question, is when, because I mean, we know Jacob, he's been on the indie scene, he's been in MLW, he's been all over the world running hard for 12, 13 years, like he said. And that's the big question is when, because you look at the landscape of how they're doing things right now. And like Obafemi said in his promo after his match with Grayson Waller, it seems like every champion has their challenger set.
Yeah.
And they don't waste time setting them. They didn't waste time with this.
This was 2 weeks. Max.
Zero time. Well, what I mean is they didn't waste time even last week. Roman came out 5 minutes later. Jacob was in his face.
Immediately had a challenger.
Exactly.
Immediately had a challenger the night after he won the championship.
So Cam has a question for you. When Jacob loses, what's next? And that's the thing. And I was just about to get to that. I was going to say, I have a feeling, and I said this, and Cam can attest to this. I said this that probably a year ago, that I feel like the bloodline thing was not done yet. I feel like at some point we're going to get back to the bloodline. I do. I had a feeling we were going to get back to the bloodline.
Much there with the Usos and Roman now.
We are. I have a feeling that Jacob, after he loses on next Saturday, that he is the new enforcer. Oh yeah, he's the new enforcer.
Yeah. The thing is, like, when they were doing the whole thing with the Usos and CM Punk, when the whole WrestleMania build was going on, I was like, the bloodline's reforming. And the thing is, like, I wasn't personally upset at that, because you take a look at that, and I believe we talked about this before. When the bloodline was at its peak, the WWE was at like a really, really good state at the time. And what better way than to really kind of get the ball rolling again for the WWE than to bring back something that worked in the past? But you do a little bit of a spin on it. Like, you don't have to do the exact same thing over and over and over again. You do a little bit of a spin, and you make something work of your own. Jacob fought too, falling in line with the bloodline. This iteration of the bloodline, not with what happened with Solo and his MFTs and all that. This version of the bloodline works. And who knows what even it could develop as further down the line after he falls in line. We realistically do not know, but at the end of the day, that would be a great thing for this. So I'm all board.
If you listen to Roman, though, between the first version of the bloodline and this version of the bloodline, nobody had choices the first time around. Now it seems like everybody has choices and they can make their own decisions. And that's I can kind of agree with you that I feel like Jacob being a part of this version is better because he's going to be able to make his own decisions. Now, at some point, do we get Roman Reigns turning back to the guy who tells everybody what they can and cannot do? Who knows? It's yet to be determined.
And the thing is, like, Roman hasn't realistically changed all that much. Like, he's still Roman Reigns, the Roman that we've all known him to be, a very manipulative type of guy or whatever. But at the end of the day, he literally said it to the Usos last week. I don't want you guys to do my bidding for me. I just want you guys to stand with me.
Yeah.
And we'll see ultimately if they kind of fall in line with that. They are now.
But even at that top of the show vignette tonight, he listened to Jimmy. He listened to Jay. He ultimately listened to Jay because when Jay said, there's got to be consequences to this, dude. You know what, Jimmy or Jay? You're right, man. There's got to be consequences. This ain't charity. You're not wrong. Let's go take care of business. Like, it's like...
He's actually listening to them as equals now instead of just,
And letting
it go. So,
that's why when I first started talking about the second version of the bloodline, we were going to get a different version of it and not the same stuff. Is it the same thing as far as the group? Yes.
Yeah.
But it's almost like, if you look at it, it's almost like a mirror image of the Shield. There was no real leader of the Shield. Seth was the architect. He was the guy that kind of found the common ground and made things happen. Roman was the muscle, and Dean was the screws loose type of guy. Exactly. And then you
let it go.
But then you get to the second version, the last version of the Shield. they all had a say. So it's almost like they're mirroring the Shield in a sense, but in a different way. It's family now.
Yeah.
But now everybody has a say. It's almost like, hey, everybody knows who sits at the head of the table. Everybody knows who the OTC is, but you need to listen to us this time, dude, because we were trying to tell you shit long ago and you didn't want to listen. Why? Because you were too stuck up here.
Plus,
now,
these three are way different than what they were back in the first iteration.
Jay's a two-time world champion.
Yeah. And Jimmy, I believe he at least should have won a United States championship.
I was going to say, he was almost a United States champion.
He should have been. Yeah. But I mean, at the end of the day, Jimmy is where he is right now, and it's a different version of what he was back then. And obviously, Roman, from what he was then to now, it is a completely different state. These are three completely different states of the human beings that we once saw. Yes. And now it is a different version of the bloodline without it being a different version of the bloodline. So,
I mean,
it's working. It's working for me, and I know it's working for others.
Back when the Shield first started, nobody was a world champion. The only person that actually held some type of world title was Seth as being the NXT champion. You fast forward to the second version and the last version of the Shield, all of them were world champions at one point. They actually were all world champions in the same night at Money in the Bank a few years ago.
And I loved that night because I was so down for that. I loved all of that too.
Now you got Roman, former billion-time world champion. I don't know how many times he really won. I think eight.
I think it's like a
7 or 8.
Yeah.
And Jay, who's a 2-time. And then Jimmy, who almost won the United States title. So it's more of an equal, it's almost a common equal ground. Now, Cam said they're all going to turn heel at one time and regain all the power. I can see that.
Yeah.
I can see it.
Sure.
And I'm honestly very openly optimistic to seeing what happens when that happens, because I want to see if things implode or if we actually see these guys stick together. Because right now it's the honeymoon stage. We're back together, but everybody has a say, and everybody's let's see what happens when they all start getting big heads and start trying to push that power. And we'll have to see.
The thing is with me, just knowing the way that we have seen these three in the past. Look, Jay is the hothead. He's been the hothead for quite some time now. We've seen that.
He's the Ambrose.
Yeah. And if anybody is going to get that big head of his, kind of loose or whatever, I mean, look, I could see a world where the Usos just turn on Roman. I could.
They did it before.
They've done it before. So that's what I mean. Like, they've done it before. Like, I could see a world where the Usos just turn on Roman. Because they either want to, at the end of the day, get ahead before Roman does that shit to them, or because Roman is Roman and he is a manipulative type of guy, there is a world where he just turns on them again. And you kind of just have to prepare yourself for either one of those two situations. Personally speaking, I would rather want to see the Usos just turn on him, because I think that would just be a little bit of a more interesting story than doing it before he does it to them. But I mean, we kind of just have to sit back and wait and see what this iteration of the bloodline can be. And then who knows what the heck would Jacob fall into any of that too, because it could be the Usos versus Jacob and Roman for who knows. I mean, like it's some sort of thing there too.
Roman world champion, Jacob Intercontinental, and the Usos the tag.
I absolutely see a world where there is a possibility of all of them being champions for sure. Yeah.
So, well, we're getting Jacob Fatu and Roman Reigns at Backlash on May 9th, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time start time on ESPN and on Netflix International at Backlash. So
another early start.
See what happens. Yeah, it's kind of
these things.
And it's Eastern local time, so it's like 6 o'clock. Like, why can't we start at 7 or 8?
In Tampa too. So exactly. I mean,
exactly.
I don't know. We had WrestleMania in the afternoon, and that to me just did not feel right at all. But
hey, when I was a kid, we used to have pay-per-views in the afternoon.
It happened all the time.
Survivor Series at one point, I believe we actually had like 1 or 2 Survivor Series on Thanksgiving, like on the day of Thanksgiving or the day after, right? And it happened in the afternoon. Yeah. And there was other pay-per-views. We had WrestleManias happen early in the afternoon. We did when they were on closed circuit and they weren't on pay-per-view yet. We've had WrestleManias that were on early in the afternoon. So, I mean, yeah, we've come a long way from that happening. But I kind of get it because especially if TKO has another event going on that's happening later in the night on the West Coast.
They definitely time it for UFCs. They definitely time it for the UFC like 3 or whatever, like or whatever the number is now. But they definitely time it for that.
I'll say this. I'm not mad at the early start time just due to the fact that if I get a shitty event, I can get the bad taste out of my mouth by 9:30, 10 o'clock at night.
Yeah.
So, and then I can continue my night by playing Fortnite or something. So I'm down for it. But Jacob and Roman should be a good match. It should not shit the bed.
No. If this shits the bed, then I'll be very shocked, especially with the work rate that these two have. So,
oh man, I could just hear the IWC now if we get a shitty match.
They better not. They better not. But I know the IWC as well, and they would go crazy.
Yeah, let's get into the Judgment Day real quick. We had Liv, Raquel, and Roxanne who attacked Stephanie Vakir earlier in the night, and Liv Morgan said to Stephanie after the attack that this is over. This is my world title now, and I say when things happen and when things end. And then before the tag match between Raquel and Roxanne against Bayley and Lyra Valkyria, Liv told Roxanne that, look, I'm supporting you. I understand Finn brought you in while I was gone, and now Finn's gone while you were away. Like, hopefully there's no animosity. Hopefully we're okay. I support you, all this stuff, and I'm going to be supporting you tonight. I'm going to be at ringside during your match, all that stuff. Are we cool? And Roxanne was like, yeah, we're cool. It's whatever, focusing on the tag team titles. And then Roxanne said that she needed to stay back for a minute while she was preparing for the match, and she would catch up with Liv and Raquel before they went to the ring. And Finn Balor came into the locker room and said, look, you can't trust them. Do not trust them. So it seems like Cam got this one right, because Cam's been saying for weeks that he could see something between, one of the girls in the Judgment Day, either Liv or Raquel, with one of the guys in the Judgment Day, pretty much Liv and Dom against Finn and Roxanne at some point. And it looks like that light is starting to shine a little bit more. I mean, do you think at some point we see Roxanne out of the Judgment Day?
For sure. Yes. I think this is ultimately the time and place to make it happen as well. The connection's there. Finn and Roxanne were the kind of two that didn't really necessarily hold the group together while Liv was away for the time that she was gone. But when Roxanne was brought into the Judgment Day, it just brought out a whole other different kind of feel for the group. And not only that, but to me, it brought out a whole other different kind of sight towards Raquel. Yeah. Raquel kind of completely flipped the script as soon as Roxanne joined the group. And it's not that like I did not like the pairing of Liv and Raquel at the time, because Liv and Raquel, they're great together. But whenever I saw Rox and Raquel together, they just fit to me and a lot better. And they fit to me a lot better than what was kind of like the formation of the quote sisterhood that they kind of call it for themselves between Liv and Raquel. I think this is the perfect time to make it happen as well. I think Roxanne doesn't really necessarily need the Judgment Day as much as to be completely honest, I don't even realistically think she needed him in the first place. But I understand why they put her in there, because there are two great women in there, along with the other guys that are in there to help her learn the ropes as she gets acclimated to the main roster. Yeah. And now that she's here, I mean, she's right there for the picking of any championship. You can plug her in and she'd be perfectly fine. So I think it's time.
I think Roxanne going into the Judgment Day was a good move. Because when she got called up, it was just a slight like introduction of her coming on, because I believe she debuted on SmackDown.
Yeah.
I believe SmackDown was the first show she showed up on.
She showed up on SmackDown in like this.
It was
like
weird. It was a
with
weird
her and
thing.
Julia.
Yeah.
It was like a pairing with her and Julia, and I was like, it's cool that they brought them up together.
It was also a weird
but it's
segment.
not. But that's what I was saying. Like it was cool that they brought them up together, but they don't fit at all together. No. So I was like, interesting, but I hope they split them away, and I'm glad they did when they did.
It was just one of those segments of like, it was after, I forget, I think it was after SummerSlam that it happened.
Yeah.
And she comes out and it's like, oh, here's an introduction to 3 girls from NXT. And it was, I believe it was her, Lyra, and Julia who all came out. And it's like, this is weird. Like, this brings me back to when the women's evolution first started. You had Stephanie stand in the middle of the ring with the Bellas and Paige and everything, and AJ, like all the girls that were starting necessarily the women's evolution, Talia. And then you had Charlotte and Becky and these girls from NXT coming in. And it's like, this is kind of freaking weird. And then they all panned out to their own groups. I'm like, don't tell me we're doing this again.
Team Bella and Team Bad.
Yeah.
It was like Naomi, Tamina, and God, it's terrible. I don't even remember the other one. But yes, I know what you're talking about. Yeah. The whole 3-way faction evolution thing, which is cool for the time. It was. I liked it. But I mean, it was.
I think Sasha was the third of that Team Bad.
Yes, Sasha. That's it. Oh my God, I can't believe I missed Sasha. But
because she was like the young girl of the group, basically.
Yeah. But it was for the time, and poor Bailey, she was left in NXT, but she won the NXT championship, and that's how they kind of did that. But yes, I go on.
But her first WrestleMania, she had a successful Fatal 4-Way, and hey, what the hell?
Yeah.
So, but I think Roxanne's at the point now where she can break away on her own. Her being with Finn for probably a couple weeks to get her situated of being a solo, it would be a good move. And I like when Cam brought the idea to my attention, I was like, I like that. I like it. I like it from the start. Let's do a one-off of Dom and Liv against these two and kind of close the book on this story. Because we're at the point of the Judgment Day now where it's primary. I mean, you look at the Judgment Day when it first started, we had Edge, Damian, Rhea, and Finn, and then Edge was gone. Dom comes in, and it's like as it grew to basically it went from a more like male dominated faction, and now it's grown to a more woman dominated faction. It wouldn't surprise me at some point to where we get to the point where JD McDonough's out and Dom's the only guy in the group. And then that's where we get our breakaway. Like, I have a feeling they're trying to get to that point. It's like you can get there now.
Way. Yeah, it is such a weird way that they've kind of gone on with this faction. And, like, it started off with Edge. You brought Damian and Rhea into the thing. They were, like, the 2 OGs of it. You're bringing Finn, Dom. And somehow, some way, people are, like, kind of, like, finagling like Finn is like an OG member of the Judgment Day when realistically he wasn't, because they brought him in later on into the game. Then Dom went into the whole entire fold because he turned on his dad. He turned him into a deadbeat father that he is today. And then you just kind of go through the entire line of it. It's been a really, really interesting path for the Judgment Day to what we are now. And it all started back in like 22.
Yeah. Yeah, we're almost 4 years.
So like it's been a 4-year group.
Yeah. And when they first showed on the screen, Liv Morgan, it was Liv, Dom, Finn, JD, and I believe Raquel was in the group at the time. When you looked at that faction, when Rhea and Damian were first excluded from the group, it was like, this faction actually does look pretty badass still. Now it's kind of like they're badass, but in a different way. But I feel like JD at some point is going to get excluded. You go back to last week and the vignette promo that he cut. That was the best vignette promo he's cut ever. Like, I was like, man, does this guy need to be a part of this group now? Like, you can get him to, but the thing is you set him up to have this badass vignette. But then he was going out to face Finn Balor, who just came off of his WrestleMania match as the Demon King.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, why couldn't you save that vignette for when there was a point where he could possibly break away from the Judgment Day? Because that vignette made him look like a fucking star.
Dude, I not a lot of people like him, but I do. I think JD is awesome for what he is. I think he's a great in-ring talent. I do.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
I think his in-ring is really up there with the best of them. I mean, he's obviously not like greatest wrestler in the world type of material, but I mean, this guy can go. Like, if you actually let him go, he can go. That vignette you're talking about, he can talk.
Oh, definitely.
He can talk. So, like, I mean, this guy has everything that you could possibly ever imagine for him.
Yeah.
But they put him into situations to where he's ultimately gonna lose, and like it sucks to see that. But there's definitely a world where you can have him be a solo act, and people can get behind him if they wanted to put the machine behind him. It's weird. It's very weird how they did this. And then poor Carlito, a part of the group too. There were so many things that happened with this group along the way.
I mean, I'll say this. I feel bad for JD, but if I had to pick a superstar to feel bad for completely right now, it would be Grayson Waller, because they just don't have anything for him.
And I like him too. I do.
Doing?
I like him.
Like, when you think about the possibilities of him being part of, maybe being a part of the Vision or something like that, like, it's cool that Austin Theory's there. It is. But when you think about the possibilities of, okay, you're doing this for Austin, why couldn't you give it a package and put Grayson Waller with him? Like, he's such a good talent.
You had
what
them,
are you doing?
You had them as a team. No,
let's team him up with the New Day. How fucking weird is that?
And that was my biggest whole entire thing with that.
Weird.
Like, first of all, here's the thing, and I know this might be very much of a hot take, but I realistically do not care. I've said this on many other occasions in the past, and I don't care who agrees with me on this or not. When NXT 2.0 was starting out, right, and you had the people that were going to be the guys of NXT 2.0.
Yeah,
you had like Braun Breaker be that kind of guy. And it was like the rainbow singlet Braun Breaker at the time. Yeah. Like, it was a very, very young Braun Breaker than what we have now. They had Grayson Waller technically atop of all of that. I don't know who else was realistically in that kind of like core group of that 2.0 talent.
Carmelo Hayes was part of it, I believe.
Right, Carmelo.
He was starting to really grow while Trick was with him, and then Trick kind of grew to the top towards the back end.
Yeah,
and then he really took over.
You had like those technically like 4 groups of guys.
Yeah.
Obviously, I saw Braun Breaker and his talent, right? I mean, everybody did. Braun Breaker, you look at the guy, former Baltimore Raven fullback. I mean, he's crazy. We all know who Braun Breaker is. Mm-hmm. But I looked at Grayson Waller and I was like, this guy can actually do something. Like, I actually kind of gravitated towards Grayson Waller a lot more than a lot of people actually thought that people could gravitate towards. And I was like, you do something with this kid, he can be something. And he got squashed in like a minute and a half tonight against Oba Femi, which is fine. I understand what they're doing with Oba. But did you really need to do it with Grayson? I don't think so.
I mean, real quick, the Oba Femi thing, I don't want to get too deep into that, but I think it's you're putting him in a position of open challenge. You're going to have a lot of these guys that aren't getting TV time right now or matches on TV or anything just come in and get their ass kicked and thrown around.
I can just see R-Truth getting thrown around next week. And him thinking that it's somebody like Mark Henry or something, asking him like, where the hell did this accent come from, Mark Henry? And then he just gets squashed in a minute and a half. So, like, I mean, I understand what they're doing, but he doesn't need to be like that next Brock Lesnar. He just needs to be Oba Femi.
Yes.
Just give him that.
Yes.
Let him be Oba Femi.
I mean,
not another Brock.
He made a good point when he said, like, oh, all the champions have challengers lined up and blah, 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 blah. But now I'm going to do something too. We're going to do an open challenge. So it's like, it was like the night of open challenges. What I mean by that is Becky Lynch came out tonight, Women's Intercontinental Champion. And she said that, she was talking about her win at WrestleMania and, all the stuff she says
putting
every week.
In the rearview mirror, all that jazz.
And she says that she's going to issue an open challenge for the IC title. So anybody who's new and bright and shiny and all this stuff and exciting, come on out if you want a shot. Well, the first woman to answer that challenge was Io Sky. She came out, she accepted the challenge, and Becky said, no, I wanted something new and exciting. You're none of those. And then she goes, I want to fight Shawn Michaels, not Marty Jannetty, because she was saying about Rhea Ripley. She was like, oh, what are you introducing Rhea Ripley? Oh, I could become Becky Two Belts again. And then Io wasn't too happy about it, and Becky was telling her no, but then Adam Pearce came out, said, look, you issued an open challenge, belts on the line, we're going to do it now. Io, Becky, and Becky ends up retaining because of Asuka interfering, and we are getting Asuka and Io at Backlash. But Becky issuing this open challenge, I mean, it was open challenge night, and your thoughts on the stuff with Becky Lynch?
Well, as soon as I saw that Asuka was not Asuka, Io was answering this open challenge, I immediately thought of Asuka. Because there realistically wasn't any other reason for Io to answer this thing other than to kind of just progress this whole entire thing that she's got going on with Asuka. I immediately thought, though, that before any of this whole entire open challenge thing started, I was texting somebody, one of my friends that literally kind of not just got into the world of wrestling. He's kind of been watching it for 2 years now, but he started watching professional wrestling on the road to WrestleMania 40. Okay. So he's kind of like brand new into this whole entire thing, 2 years in. And he's done a lot of homework up until this point. But I was like, as soon as I immediately heard this promo from Becky, she's like, an open challenge. She's kind of like a veteran in this business. She kind of, the prestige of the Intercontinental Championship is up there as of right now. I know we've kind of just had debuts happen, like NXT call-ups or whatever.
Yeah.
But it kind of reminded me of the time when AJ did an open challenge type of feel for the Divas Championship.
Paige came in and she won the title on her first night on Raw.
She won the championship.
It was right after WrestleMania 30. Yep.
Yeah. So I was like, it's kind of reminding me of this. I know we had debuts last week, but who knows? Maybe they do something different with this.
Yeah.
And it was Io Sky. And I was like, okay, I see where they're going with this now. So it was interesting. But I told him about that situation with AJ and Paige, and he was like, that would have been an awesome idea to do.
Yeah.
And he's like, I wish we could have seen something like that, but it is what it is.
I mean, I seen what they were doing with it too, because me and Cam were talking, and I mean, like Cam asked, like, did you hear if we heard the Kyrie chants tonight? I mean, I heard faint Kyrie chants. I heard faint, and I don't know if it was because, I was doing something else while watching, or if my TV wasn't loud enough. I didn't really hear Kyrie chants too much. But here's the thing: as I said to Cam,
but I heard him.
I said to Cam the other day when the releases were happening, Kyrie saying was part of it, and I'm like, they just literally took away the core of this Io Asuka storyline,
right? Yeah,
like the whole point of the basis of the storyline. And when Io came out, I was like, this would be a good way to continue the story by having Asuka come out and cost her this belt, cost her this match. And lo and behold, Asuka comes out, costs her the match. Exactly. I'm like, okay, now they found a way to get to that point, which is good. They picked it up, smart move, great way to look at it and figure it out on the fly. But this match at Backlash needs to be it. Like, I don't want to see Asuka and Io anymore after this match at Backlash. And I have a bad feeling we're going to continue seeing it. I do.
No, I do too. But the thing is, like, I see so many people right now. Like, look, the We Want Kyrie movement that's happening right now. First of all,
she'll be back.
I think ultimately, do I want it? Yes. Do I want to see kind of like a payoff for this whole entire thing with Kyrie, Asuka, and Io? Yes, I do. But when I saw everything happen with the releases, and I saw Kyrie's name at the very top of the list, it wasn't like Kyrie was just kind of hidden in the middle to where like you barely even noticed. She was right there at the top, so you knew exactly what their kind of like priorities were when it came down to these releases. Yeah. And I was like, you literally just deleted the entire basis of this Io Asuka feud, and now we're not going to get the payoff that I felt like this story deserved because people, believe it or not,
They were invested.
very much invested in this.
Yeah.
And I think because of the way that the WWE is now, I tweeted this earlier today, that like because of the way the WWE is now, I was just getting myself ready. I was getting myself ready for not even having a payoff for this Io Asuka feud.
I was too.
With her, because normally they kind of just sweep this under the rug and tell us to forget about it when we as fans don't forget.
Yep.
So I was preparing myself to not have a payoff with this thing, and then the next day, Kyrie gets released, and I was like, "See, I was okay. I was okay with myself not like with kind of like setting myself up for disappointment because that's what happens." So hopefully I want to see it happen, but I don't think it does. She's back in Japan from what I hear. And if she does come back, that's cool. But it's nothing like what happened with R-Truth. I don't think so.
I have a feeling she might be back. I mean, I'm not saying in the next week or two, but I have a feeling probably by SummerSlam time she might be back. Like she might be one of those returning stars after SummerSlam. Like, let's get through the summertime.
We want Kyrie is going to work.
Like I'm not saying it's going to be necessarily the whole we want Kyrie movement. I think it's just the company saying, look, obviously every year we have these budget cuts. It happens. We have these budget cuts where we send people out, and that's that. Sometimes we do see superstars that are part of the budget cut, but then they end up signing back a month, 2 months later, sometimes a week later. I mean, and I said this, and I know a lot of people aren't happy about, like Cam, he brought to my attention that, like Bully Ray made a comment about, not feeling sympathy for the releases. I get that it was a little unsympathetic of saying that, but at the same time, I can understand what he's saying. As a long-time fan, I understand what he's saying because one of Bully Ray's, and if you listen to Bully Ray on Busted Open every day that he's on and everything, what is his main thing that he says that is the number one rule in pro wrestling? Get over.
Yeah.
And if you go back to the past, Drew McIntyre gets fired. A week later, Mick Foley's calling and saying, look, you guys need to keep an eye on this kid because he's making noise. And what happens? Drew McIntyre comes back, a year later? After getting fired. Jinder Mahal had a bad run on his own, got fired. A couple months later, gets hired back, becomes WWE champion.
Yeah.
So you've had stars who have returned after getting released a couple months later. Kyrie, I could see her being one of those superstars that gets brought back because when you look at the women's division, it's pretty healthy. I mean, when it comes to the champions and when it comes to challengers, even the tag team division, it kind of feels like they're starting to push the tag team division to the forefront these past couple weeks. Like these past 2 weeks.
You literally
after Mania
just deleted a tag team. When you deleted Kyrie from everything here. And the only reason why I kind of push back on this is because this is her second stint into WWE. This was her second stint and she got released again.
And that's the thing is I
don't know.
Cam, I know he said that it was get over or get out. And that's the thing is he's basically saying, you can either go home and sit and soak in your sorrows because you got fired, or you can go take advantage of all the opportunities that are out there because you got to remember, it's not just WWE that's there anymore. You have AEW, you have MLW, you have GCW, you have all the whole indie scene, which the indie scene is hot as hell right now.
Yeah.
Hell, next weekend,
Social
it has been over
free for you. Use it.
Next weekend, it has been over 10 years since we've had our local over 10 years since our local promotion has been around. They're doing a comeback show next week.
Yeah.
They're doing a comeback show next week, and it's supposed to be big, and it's only $20 to get in. You best believe I'm going to be trying to go to that show.
Yeah.
There's
the
all
indies are
different places
right
to work.
There are other places to work, but the thing is, I just simply one of the I know we're not going to go into every single release because that's just
no.
We can't.
That's not the point of tonight. No.
But what I did want to talk about just real quick.
Yeah, go ahead.
Because it bothers me to no end when it came down to this woman. Obviously, she wasn't very well liked. She wasn't. But I thought she was a hell of a talent. She got hurt on your watch. She got hurt on your terms.
Mm-hmm.
She's been rehabbing a knee injury for 9 to 10 months, and you fire her.
Yeah.
Why? Like that. The thing is, like, it is on your terms. It is on your watch that she got hurt on. I know they're most likely going to have. They have to. You have to continue helping her get through this injury that
they
happened
will.
on your show.
They will.
But firing her when she's still rehabbing to get back to the ring, and then you give her a 90-day no-compete on top of this, it bothers me, man. It bothers me when they release these talents that get hurt. Santos Escobar just got hurt. Yeah. We have no idea what injury he sustained in AAA, but you signed him back to keep him away from other companies. You try to make him a big shot in AAA, and then he gets hurt on your show again. So now we don't know what he has. We don't know what is ultimately going to be the future for him. When they release these superstars that get hurt on their watch, that bothers me, man. I'm sorry.
They post, even if they get rid of them, they post take care of them because it was under their watch, because it was under their care and everything. They do follow up and take care of. There have been stories about superstars that got fired after being like they're still healing from the injury, but doctor said, hey, now we can get you on the fast track of recovery. We can get you back into the ring and start training again. Once that comes about, I believe that's when they say, okay, now they're able to get back into the ring. All right, we made the decision. We're going to release you. But your injury was under our care. We're going to continue taking care of you. So anything you need, just let us know. So I believe that's how they do it. I've heard stories about it. But that's the thing is
we've heard some horror stories about it too. So,
yeah, there has been horror stories.
There have been. Like that's kind of what I'm hoping. Like I'm not hoping for horror stories. Don't get me wrong. I'm saying like I just don't want that stuff to happen to these people because they're good people at the end of the day and they should get signed elsewhere when the 90 days are up.
But that's
30 days for the NXT and Evolve talent that got released too.
But that's going to be the thing is, and this goes back to the Bully Ray comments is, and that's why I said I understand what he's getting to is you can either go home, soak in your sorrows and don't do anything about it, or go out and work. Go out and take that indie show that's going to pay you $120. Go out and take that indie show overseas that's going to pay you $1,000 for a month to do a couple shows. Whatever
matters.
Go out and get yourself noticed. We are in the time and day where we have this, and all it takes is one click of a finger to post something, and that's it. Look what some of the members of the Wide Six have done over the weekend. Fuck Eric Redbeard. Did you see his video over the weekend?
Yep.
Oh, holy shit.
Joe Gacy just types the number 90, and we all know that Joe Gacy is still going to be in the world of wrestling, and whatever happens with him, I'll be following him. No matter what happens to any of those guys.
Yes.
The only person that I really wish they simply did not take away from was Bell. I think because I heard Bully Ray say this. He's the link to Bray.
Yeah.
If they kept him on site and they allowed him to do whatever he needed to do, he could have been a great singles guy. And they're right. I mean, obviously nobody else would have take offense to him staying and the rest going or anything like that, but he's their link to Bray. I would have never done that, but hopefully if Bo still wants to continue doing this, I'll follow him. But if he doesn't, I hope he did well by his brother, and at the end of the day, he'll
in 90 days. In 90 days, you're going to be able to go out and compete and make money again. And like I was trying to say, you can either, and again, understand Bully said, you can either go home, soak in your sorrows, cry about it or whatever, or go out and find a job. What do we do as normal 9-to-5ers? We lose a job. What do? We go look for another one.
Yeah.
You know,
Take ourselves back up
me
and figure it
recently,
out.
7.5 months ago, company I was working for closed. I took 7 months to myself to sit back and figure out what I wanted to do next because, you know, my body's a little beat up from what I was doing. Now I'm back to doing what I was doing, you know, with the different company though, same job. But it's the fact
You
of
take your time to reflect, but at the end of the day, you get back up and you get back to what you do.
I went over my options and what I wanted to do, what I'm going to be happier doing, what schedule is going to reflect better for me personally, because I'm not going to let a job take over my life. I let that happen twice already. Not going to let it happen the third time.
Right.
It's all about getting on your feet and going out and finding something, you know, doing something about it. And I can kind of get that. It's almost like, yeah, it sounds shitty coming out of his mouth by saying what he said, but just think of the little bit of motivation that's coming out too. It's go home and soak your sorrows, or go fucking look for work. There's plenty of opportunity out there, and who knows? All it takes is one fan to hit record, post on the internet, and tag your ass in that video, and bam, you're back. You're right back into the mix of possibly working for TNA, AEW, GCW, WWE. It can happen.
And these talents will get signed.
They will
Get signed. And these guys will have their moment to shine. And it'll be a great time when it happens. So good. Two
more things to get through here that we're going to talk about real quick. Number one, I want to bring this up real quick. Last week, Paul Heyman, he fought for something. He mentioned in his opening promo that he wanted Brock Lesnar to be added from the now to the forever section.
Yeah.
And Brock Lesnar was changed to the forever section in the open tonight. Did you notice that?
I actually did. So, I mean, they did that. I'm still not buying I'm still not buying his retirement. I'm not buying his retirement. I think he'll be back by SummerSlam, especially. And, that will be the time when he ultimately does retire, but I did not buy it. I'm sorry. It is just how I felt about it.
See, now me as a fan, and my thought on this is I think he is done. I think they're going to do something special for him at SummerSlam, and people would hate what I think they're going to do. I think he at SummerSlam, they're going to do like a little celebration thing for him for his career. And they're going to top it off by him being announced as the first inductee to the Hall of Fame in 2027.
I mean, that wouldn't have shocked me. That's
what I think.
When I was watching that whole entire thing live of him taking off his boots and gloves and all of that, I was like, okay, interesting. Not an interesting choice for retirement, because obviously it's WrestleMania. I mean, what better way than to retire at WrestleMania?
Yeah.
But
plenty of guys have done it. Stone Cold.
And then he threw up the X, and people in my channel is like, oh, wait a minute, this is real. He threw up the X. I'm like, guys, first of all, yeah, sure, we all know that the X means that it's like real or whatever. But like, I mean, I kind of just took everything after everything kind of settled down, that this was his last WrestleMania, and he was just kind of saying his goodbyes there, so that when he does his thing for SummerSlam against whoever he does it with, then he'll just retire on his own terms, go off into the sunset, and do his thing. They still have that whole thing with Gunther and Paul Heyman that they still need to figure out. So that's the only reason why I don't buy it just yet.
I mean, that's the only thing that would make sense is like Gunther has the deal with Paul Heyman. So maybe Gunther's thing is he wants to retire Brock.
He says, look, at the end of the day, your boy is not retiring on his own terms.
Yeah.
Get me Brock Lesnar back so I can finish him off.
Yeah.
Then he can go off on his own terms, go back to Saskatchewan, hunt some moose, and do whatever he needs to do. He would most likely say that shit too. I mean, it's Gunther. So, I mean, he does his shit.
That's great.
He's from Minnesota, but he lives in Saskatchewan and he hunts some moose. So, I mean, he does his thing. So, I mean, he does what he does. But
yeah, that'd be good, though.
Let me retire him so that I can say I did that. So I can retire another one of your favorites. Not my favorite, but one of your favorites.
That's the only thing that would make sense. Anything else, I don't think would make any sense. There'd be nothing else for Brock to accomplish by facing anybody else. I mean, the last guy he faced is Obafemi, a guy who is, quote unquote, the future of this company.
Yeah.
Well, he realistically is part of the future of this company.
Yeah.
But like I said it before WrestleMania that I feel like they are righting a wrong from 3 years ago when they had him face Omos, because Omos was being put in that position of being the next big guy of the company, and they kind of flopped the shit. And it's like, okay, now we got a second opportunity with Obafemi. He's a big dude. He's dominant. Like, he could be that hey, let's try and do this again. That's the only way that made sense to me, because you go back to WrestleMania 39, it's like, man, that almost Brock match was the shits.
Yeah.
Like,
they got to write that. I have a very weird history. But yeah, no, I definitely saw the writing on the wall when it came down to that whole Omos and Brock thing. Yeah. I'm glad they went the right way with Oba and Brock.
Yes.
Because if they didn't, holy shit, would the IWC go nuts because of everything that's what Obafemi is now.
Yeah. Like I said, two things to get into real quick. I was debating whether I want to talk about this or not, but we're going to talk about it anyways because it was funny as shit. I was laughing my ass off the Joe Hendry concert.
Yes.
Michael Cole singing along was just gold. It was just gold. And in the lyrics, Joe Hendry was asking for Logan Paul to get fired. Logan Paul comes out. He's losing his shit. Him and Austin Theory end up attacking Joe in the middle of the ring, but then the Street Profits come out. The Street Profits have made it very known that they want the tag team titles. So, I mean, this concert was hilarious. And I was kind of thinking the same thing the Street Profits were thinking from backstage is Joe Hendry needs to change his shirt because he needs to change to a red shirt.
He ain't snapped and he got to go in the red.
But I mean, blue kind of fit. He's been wearing that blue shirt for a long time.
He's been wearing blue ever since he became red. Like no pun intended, red hot. He's been wearing that blue shirt.
Yeah,
from the very beginning that I've known him, and I've only known him realistically from the popularity of him being in TNA. Like, I'll be honest, like, I realistically did not know Joe Hendry for that long, but when he started to get popular in TNA, that's when I kind of gravitated towards him the most. And then he transitioned into WWE that we see him now. So
my very first Joe Hendry match that I watched was at a TNA pay-per-view a few years ago. And it was him and Moose for the Internet Championship.
Okay.
And
I know what you're talking about.
He used a fucking remote control car to trip up Moose. And I was like, this is fucking gold. Like, this is so good. Like, it's ridiculous, but it's good. And it's entertaining. And it was right around the time TNA started picking up some steam. And I'm like, because it was that year, was in, I think, 2022 or 2023. At the beginning of the year, I was like, man, I want to start getting back into TNA. So I watched the very first pay-per-view. Very first match was Josh Alexander defending the TNA title against Bully Ray.
Yeah.
And
okay. Yeah.
The main event was
where you are.
The main event was Mickie James and Masha Slamovich for the the women's world title.
Yes.
And I was like, man, that was such an enjoyable pay-per-view. I was like, I am getting every TNA pay-per-view moving forward. I can't watch Impact because I didn't have the channel at the time, but I am watching every pay-per-view. And like, it was like 2 pay-per-views later, we had him and Moose for the Internet Championship, and he's using a fucking remote control car to trip up Moose. And I'm like, this is so good. Like, this is gold. Like, just fun. And yeah. So,
and his song blew up out of nowhere too, and that ultimately got him to where he is now. So, when you have something, you stick with it, and that's ultimately what kind of got him to where he is now. But yes, I love the concert, man. Keep doing these concerts. I love.
I want to see like a comedic battleground because I have a feeling Danhausen's going to be mainly on SmackDown now.
Yeah.
Which sucks because Danhausen was doing such good things on Raw, and I was like, man, I would love to see a comedic like showdown between Joe Hendry and Danhausen. Like, how great would that be? Like,
there'd be so many jokes with that you can do.
By the way,
and then you can do Hendryhausen and all that shit, and like have him play the guitar and try have him sing. Like, there's so many things that you can do.
By the way, Danhausen taking the curse off the Mets worked. They won and they got rid of their 10-game losing streak that they were.
I'm telling you, man, this curse is a real thing. Like, it's a real thing. People gotta respect the curse. Anytime that anytime that he curses somebody or takes a curse off of something,
it works.
It happens.
Yeah.
It happens. It
Yep.
works.
It sure
but
does.
The thing is, I love that WWE capitalized on it and they're actually utilizing it in their storytelling.
Yes.
Which is the one thing that AEW never did.
And it all started with Dominic Mysterio losing the Intercontinental title.
Exactly. So, like, it's so good. But yes, Joe Hendry, keep the concerts going. This is really cool. Street Profits coming on in there, doing their thing with Logan Paul and Austin Theory. I'm okay with it. Does this mean that the tag team division is completely saved? No, because this tag team division is completely dead anyway. And the Street Profits are basically the Street Profits of old, and there's nothing new about them. So to me, realistically, they just kind of acclimated them back in. And
they have a more serious
just,
side to them, though.
Yeah, slightly. But until I actually see something in the ring from them, I don't buy it. I don't. Not yet. Like,
well, maybe it'll be on Backlash.
I need to see something with them. And at the end of the day, like, if you're just going to put them back into a tag team division that's been suffering anyway, because WWE realistically never cared about a tag team division, work at it. Make me care. Because at this point, I don't. And it's for both shows, too.
Well, so far we got, and we're going to talk about this in a minute, but Braun Breaker against Seth Rollins, Asuka against Io, and then Roman against Jacob. There's like 1 or 2 more match slots for Backlash. Why not put them in the Backlash match?
They do basically 5 matches for these B-level pay-per-views. You got 3 of them on Monday Night Raw alone. You would think that some sort of like SmackDown match would have to get in there. I don't know. Well, honestly, they've built towards SmackDown to get in there. So they got to get things going now. Because there's only 3 shows left.
I mean, they really, realistically, they can just focus everything on Raw side for 1 show.
So what are we doing? Are we doing
Raw and no splits? No
pay-per-views again?
No. But for like this pay-per-view, you got to think of it. All the heavy storylines that people are really focused on right now are on Monday Night Raw. For 1 pay-per-view, it's not going to hurt to have all the matches Raw represented. It's not going to hurt. They're not going to go back to that format unless they sneak it in there on us and they actually do that and we just don't know about it. But I don't think it would hurt for 1 night to just have 1 pay-per-view focused from 1 brand because all the heavy storylines are on Raw.
Oh, I mean, but then you'll have people saying, why the hell is Cody not defending his championship, all that freaking jazz. And I'll just go back to him and saying, like, look, Roman Reigns didn't defend most of the championships that he had at the time when he was champion for 1,316 days. So 1 pay-per-view that he doesn't defend a championship on is not the end of the world.
We got a comment. Everyone has their own opinions, and I respect that decision, but wrestling in its entirety is dead, and the wrestlers killed it. I mean, here's the thing: is you're right. Everybody has their own opinions, and I say this all the time. Everybody has their own opinions, and I respect everybody's opinions. You know why? You know why, Phil? Because it's just an opinion. You're not right. You're not wrong. You're just basing your opinion, and that's that. And if you feel like that wrestling is dead, and that the wrestlers killed it, well then, hey, that's your opinion. And that's all there is to it. You're not right or wrong at the end of the day. It's just how you feel. And if people can't respect how you feel, then that's a them problem and not a you problem. So that settles that. Moving on. Seth Rollins came out tonight.
Yeah.
Okay. And he was talking about WrestleMania and the reasons why he lost to Gunther at WrestleMania, and it was all because of Braun Breaker. He's blaming Braun Breaker, and he did call out Braun Breaker. Very quickly, Braun Breaker did come out with Paul Heyman, and they had a pretty crazy back and forth. I'm going to say this right now. This was actually a really good back and forth between these two. Seth was telling him that he gave him everything, and he was repaid by taking everything from him. Braun then said that he was like, what did you give me? All you gave me and Bronson was us doing everything for you. We never needed you. All we wanted was Paul Heyman. And then Seth was like, what, you want that sad sack of shit, basically? I was just saying. But then Seth said, he said to Breaker that yes, you are the future. You have it all. I bet on myself, and what do I get? I get main events and world titles. But when you bet on yourself, all you get is Logan Paul, Austin Theory, steak dinners, and a happy ending from Paul Heyman. And then Braun Breaker said that, yeah, you are one of the best, but you're a best number 2. And Seth went backlashed at him by saying that, yeah, he'll give him a shot at Backlash, and that he's not even number 2 in his own family. So we are getting Braun Breaker, Seth Rollins at Backlash. Part of me feels like this should be a blow off because this storyline kind of took a dead end turn for me as a fan. Your thoughts?
The thing is, like, I was so invested in this story as we were heading towards WrestleMania. The hernia happened for Braun Breaker, and it kind of just fell to the wayside. Then all of a sudden, we hear that he was cleared, and they held off the WrestleMania match that there was supposed to happen between Braun and Seth because they didn't want to shoehorn it into a WrestleMania match just to have it be a WrestleMania match. So they did the whole thing with Gunther and Seth so that Gunther can be on the WrestleMania card and Seth didn't have to be left out. So that whole thing kind of just went to shits. And then Rey Mysterio magically got cleared with his rib injury, and they put him in a ladder match when it was supposed to be Rey versus Gunther. So they did that whole entire thing. I'm not going to go completely more in detail because we already know what the fuck happened. But now we're doing this match at Backlash, and I felt like this match was going to be the feud that was going to carry us through the summer. SummerSlam, Braun Breaker versus Seth Rollins. They're doing this match at Backlash, which honestly, I'm not too completely upset about because how much longer can you realistically do this thing from now until the end of August or whenever August happens? I'm fine with it now, but I thought this was going to be the whole thing that carried us through the summer. I guess they said otherwise, and we're just going to blow it off here. If not, though, I could easily see them trying to continue this. But we might as well just carry it off now.
I feel like this story is so exhausted. It is.
It just fell apart. It fell apart when everybody got hurt.
Yeah.
If everybody did not get hurt, this match would have been blown off at WrestleMania, and we would have had something different for Seth, something different for Braun, definitely something different for Bronson Reed, because Bronson Reed was definitely going to be a part of something too. Everybody would have had something different after WrestleMania, and everybody got hurt, and that's just what happens.
Fell apart, but it's just starting. Whether it's just starting or not, it just feels so exhausting because we had that feeling that going into WrestleMania that we were going to get Seth and Braun, and then Braun gets hurt. Everything happened, and the war
initial
words
turn happened. I immediately thought Braun and Seth for Mania.
I mean, the war words. Yeah, the war words tonight. Was it good? Yeah, it was good. Was some of it funny? Like the whole, getting a happy ending from Paul Heyman and you're the second best and you're
Baby
second best, Baby Steiner, all that stuff. It just feels like it's so exhausted now. And I think what they would have to do is make it a little more. I mean, every storyline needs to have something interesting happening, but right now this story just feels so exhausted. And if they continue it, I hope they find a way to breathe a little more life into it. And here's the thing, is you talked about, we heard they got cleared, but they didn't want to push it for Mania. Well, there was a couple of situations that you could have added to Mania, and it would have been fine. Fans would have been fine. You're telling me fans would not have been fine with Seth and Braun? We would have been fine with it. Just like Io and Asuka. If you would have
the only thing that made sense.
If you would have slipped Io and Asuka in there, fans would have been fine with it.
That should have been the blow off for their match. Like it should have blown off at WrestleMania between Asuka and Io. And then finally, Kyrie had enough of her shit turn on her, and then you have Io win against Asuka and Kyrie's free. Like there were so many things that you could have done. Rey and Gunther. Maybe Rey didn't want to retire. He didn't. Maybe he didn't. And the thing is, he most likely wants to retire because of his son Dom.
Yeah,
and I respect that. I do. But
they're going to do they're going to do the Lucha Libre ceremony stuff with them.
Of course, and that's perfectly fine with that. Like at the end of the day, I was okay. with Gunther not realistically retiring Rey Mysterio, because at the end of the day, I think the whole retirement shtick, the career killer thing, it has a ceiling.
Yeah,
because there's not going to be that many people else that he needs to
the list
retire,
ain't
and
gonna be
then
long.
like he's going to retire our favorites, and then after that, who else are you going to retire?
Yeah.
Dominic Mysterio? Like, no, you're not going to retire the kid, unless you really want to stick it to his father some more. I mean, there's not many people, so I think there's a ceiling. But I get it. You want to do it against your son, and I respect it.
Cam asks, so
You
wait,
couldn't
the
have left him
bloodline.
off.
Cam asks, so wait, the bloodline stuff's not, but this is. Here's the thing: is the bloodline stuff. I can understand if some people feel exhausted from that storyline. I can definitely understand it.
I know people personally that are.
Yeah. But the bloodline thing, again, me personally, I've been feeling for the past almost year that they were going to come back together and it was going to be a different form, and now it's starting to happen. So I don't feel so exhausted as a fan from it. But this, I feel exhausted from it because what have we truly gotten from it other than a war of words and a couple of attacks? Nothing. We've got no in-ring competition from it. Nothing.
Yeah,
we're finally getting a match. If you would have thrown these two on WrestleMania, you heard they got cleared a week before Mania, and you knew they were cleared, you could have thrown them on WrestleMania and it would have been completely fine. Why? Because there was a fucking story behind it.
Like, I heard that they were cleared like 2 weeks before WrestleMania. I thought
Story
the whole
behind
entire
it. Could have
thing.
done it.
I thought the whole entire thing of Seth and his remember what I called them, the Putty Patrol?
Yeah.
Like the whole entire Putty Patrol. Like, I thought the whole entire shtick of that was for Braun Breaker to be one of them. He gets speared by one of them, takes off the mask, and Braun Breaker's back a week before WrestleMania, the Raw before WrestleMania. And then you have the graphic right there, Braun Breaker versus Seth Rollins at WrestleMania. You blow it off right there. You could have. The story is there.
Yeah.
The story was right there to make it happen. And the only thing that I could possibly ever see if they want to continue this past Backlash is, and this might not work for you, and if it doesn't, that's perfectly fine, but if Bronson is back.
Okay.
If Bronson is back and they do something to where Braun Breaker gets the win, because I feel like Braun Breaker has to get the win over Seth here.
Yeah.
At Backlash.
Yeah. Oh, definitely.
If Bronson is back, then you can carry this past Backlash, because Seth would ultimately have to get his win back. Now, does it have to happen all the way at SummerSlam? No. But I mean, like for this, I mean, what you have here, you got a Saturday Night's main event followed by Clash of Italy. I don't feel like a Clash of Italy is a blow off for it, right? You're not going to blow this off on a Saturday Night's main event. After a Saturday Night's main event, it's Night of Champions. Is that a way to blow off Seth Rollins in division? I don't think so. Then it's another Saturday Night's main event, and then we're here at SummerSlam. So you got like 2 Saturday Night main events, 2 PLEs, and then SummerSlam.
Yeah.
It's a lot up until August.
Number one, I agree. Braun wins on May 9th at Backlash. I agree with that. I can agree that if Bronson Reed comes back, maybe they can continue this. Then they'd be doing it ass backwards, because you would think Seth faced Bronson and then Braun, because Braun's the top guy in the group.
Yeah, go through Bronson first to get to Braun.
Or what they can do is finally pull that fucking trigger that's been there the whole time and start pushing Bronson Reed to the goddamn moon, right? And make him just as big as Braun Breaker.
Yeah.
The only problem is Bronson just keeps getting hurt. The injury plague is on him, which sucks.
Yeah.
You strap a rocket to his back, his ass might get burnt from the fire. And there's another injury for a couple months.
He should have been in that kind of league already.
Like, okay. Here's a scenario, and then we're going to start wrapping things up here, because we've run a little longer than normal. Here's another scenario I'm thinking of is get Bronson Reed built up to the level of Braun Breaker, and then by the time we get to SummerSlam, Bronson Reed versus Braun Breaker. There can only be one top guy in the division. Yeah. Winner take it, and the loser leaves, and that's that.
You can do that. Yeah. I just feel like there could have been a lot.
Seth's got to move on
for this.
Seth's got to move on.
He does. To. Like
I think that's what the exhausting thing. I'm sorry for cutting you off. I think that's part of the exhaustion is the fact that Seth is so stuck to this, and the War Words is getting so exhausting. And it's like now we got tonight, we're gonna get next week with a possible attack, and then we're gonna get the match on Saturday.
He's so engulfed with this stuff with Division, and the thing is, like, I ultimately saw where they were going. Like, no pun intended or anything, but I saw the vision of what they were trying to do. But things happened.
Yeah.
That ultimately led to shit just hitting the wall and not sticking. Injuries happened. Then you had the miraculous.
They could have gone.
The miraculous clearings of the people just weeks before WrestleMania
fucking
when you could have
behind it.
Shoehorned it in there. They say shoehorning it in there, but it worked. You still could have made it work.
Could have.
Like there was so much stuff that went wrong, but you still could have made it right.
Yep.
And they just didn't choose to do it. So, I mean, it is up to them. They're going to learn from this, but Seth has to get out one way or another. And eventually it will happen, but we just got to get there.
Let's see what happens next week with the War Words, because I know we're going to get it. But that's it for Monday Night Raw in Laredo, Texas, April 27th, 2026. Real quick, Phil, on this day, back in 1999, on this day in New Haven, Connecticut, the very first episode of SmackDown was taped.
Oh shit! Hey,
1990. So we are coming up on
my neck of the woods.
We are coming up on the 30-year anniversary. We have 4 more years to get there. Well, 3 more years to get there. But yeah.
Will they actually have SmackDown 30 like they did a Raw 30? Which actually, surprisingly, I was there. I was surprisingly there for Raw 30, and they had a trial of Sammy.
Raw is the ship show.
That's the flagship show. They're
flagship
always
show
do it for that.
Yeah. SmackDown they might get some acknowledgement, like when the show opens, like it is the 30th year of anniversary of SmackDown, and that's it.
They'll have it be 3 hours again for that one episode. Remember, now that they're most likely going to go back to 2 hours again, so they'll put it back to 3 hours for that 1 week, and then they'll do it 2 hours again. Look, I don't give a shit what hours you do. Okay, SmackDown's just unbearable anyway, so who gives a shit? But yeah. But that's cool though. It happened in Connecticut. I didn't know that.
We'll have to see if they get a 30th anniversary show or not. But Phil, let's get out of here. Your social medias are going to be on the bottom. What do you want to let the people know? What do you got going
on? TikTok, Twitter, YouTube, Instagram, Twitch, PhillyMatt _ you type it, you find it, you do all the things you do. I'm trying to get on the road to 1,000 followers on Twitch. I'm trying to get there. It's a long road ahead. We're at like 352 right now, but I do these watch alongs every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. I had to move them over to Twitch because YouTube doesn't like me anymore when I do watch alongs. I knew it was going to happen eventually.
You weren't live on YouTube tonight, huh?
Yeah. YouTube does not like me anymore. And honestly, the thing is, like, it was getting like the partially blocked thing.
Yeah.
But when it gets to like being fully blocked, it can lead to strikes and all of that shit. So I just am protecting myself and just not doing it on YouTube anymore, just simply doing it on Twitch. And it's been working because, I mean, people are finding it and people are seeing it and we're still having a good time over there. So if you guys want to watch on Twitch with me, you guys can. If not, that's perfectly cool. But I'm still on every other social media platform that's known to man. And I'm basically doing stuff every single day. So you'll find me on something. So there you go.
Make sure you go follow Phil on all social media platforms. Make sure you join him for his watch alongs over on Twitch. Every time he does a watch along, go hit the follow button and turn those notifications on. You'll know when he does a watch along. So YouTube's really tricky, dude. It is. Like if you show something that's copyrighted or even have the noise of something copyrighted, like if you have the noise of Raw in the background, they'll give you that strike because of that copyright. That's why for the Huddle Hub, like when I do watch alongs for the Huddle Hub, whether it's the Honors Awards or if, I was going to do a watch along for the draft this past week, but got out of work a little later than I was expecting to. So I didn't have a lot of time to come home and set up. So I just did 2 separate episodes of the Huddle Hub on Thursday. I did a pre-show and a post-show of round one. But when you have stuff like that, like TikTok and Twitch are the two places to really, kind of do a watch along. But even TikTok is a little tough. You got to kind of try not have any copyrighted logos and stuff.
TikTok's been knocking down things too, though, as well. I mean, when they do the when people do the reactions now and post it on there, like they get copyright strikes now instead of warnings, and people are going to lose their accounts now because of it. Like it's insane.
It's
what WWE is kind of just like striking down on it. So you got to be careful now. But yeah, I mean, I'm here. Most likely what I'm doing now after everything is that since I'm not doing the watch alongs on YouTube anymore, I'm going to be just doing videos of topics from that show and upload it throughout the week so that I can still cover something instead of just having the watch along be a part of it. So I got some plans in the works. You just got to be there and ultimately to see it if you want to be.
You got to go follow and turn those notifications on. That's all there is to it. Instagram, X, TikTok, and YouTube. Metal Mike 714 is where you can find me. I'm on the show here every Monday night with Cam on the table spot after Monday Night Raw, with Phil and Cam on the boom every Wednesday night after AEW Dynamite. And I'm also here on Tuesday nights at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and on Sunday mornings at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on twitch.tv/The Huddle Hub Podcast and youtube.com/@The Huddle Hub Pod. Tomorrow night, we're going to be doing our draft grades. We're going to be grading teams and how they did in the draft from this past weekend. The draft out in Pittsburgh was so phenomenal. 805,000 people. Pittsburgh broke a draft attendance record this past weekend.
That was one of my most performing live streams, which is crazy. I didn't expect it, but that was really cool. So I appreciate everybody that showed up for that.
So tomorrow night, we're going to be doing our grades for each team. We're going to be talking about UFL Week 6 coming up. Week 5 just passed, ended yesterday. So we'll be talking about that stuff and all the news. And then Sunday morning, I will be covering anything that happened from Tuesday night all the way up till Sunday and talking about anything that happened in the UFL leading up to that time. So come join us on Tuesday night, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and Sunday morning, 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, over on twitch.tv/The Huddle Podcast, youtube.com/@The Huddle Pod. You can also follow us on TikTok, on Instagram, and on Epic Studios at The Huddle Hub Pod as well. Thank you guys for joining us tonight. Be good to each other, be kind to each other, take care of each other, be patient with each other. Remember, the world is not moving as fast as you think. Until Wednesday, with me, Phil, and Cam on the boom. We'll see you guys later. Deuces.